So let's start things off on Tournament Undergrounds. This is going to be Futurama, who is the current champion of 2023, unbeaten. He is King Future, and he's going to be versus BikeRush. BikeRush going with the Steel Talons, Futurama on the right hand side as the Cyan GDI as always. He always picks Cyan. It's going to be Tournament Underground, which is a very unorthodox choice for a first map. And I have just gone live now. I'm probably going to post this on my YouTube channel. So, hey guys on YouTube, probably going to post this because it's probably going to be an epic series. And it's going to be the first map on Tournament Underground. Some people wanted me to remove the contested spike in the middle of the map. Replace it with something like, I don't know, maybe a statue of Havoc or something. Maybe the EMP control could go there. But it's what Predator had in mind for this map. So it will remain. I think Scrin have a good advantage on this map because they can spam loads of buzzers and kill the rifleman. It's often it's called a poker map for that reason, because sometimes both players can go all in for the spike and get the spike and win the game automatically if they secure it and their opponent loses their engineer. Anyways, I have adjusted refineries in R20. They do dock a little bit further out compared to before. This was to minimize the chance of harvesters getting stuck in refineries, and I'm hoping that this works. Now, the way that it exits is still the same as before, but the way that it docks is different. It docks a little bit further out than previously, and I'm hoping that this adjustment will fix the bug. Of course, we'll only know in time if it works or not.
Rig packed up and ready.
Wine time.
Packed up and ready. Thank you very much for the sub, Shenra. Thank you very much for the all the subs you've given me, actually. I really appreciate that support. Really nice having that support, and I am a little bit drunk, of course, but not so much. I can still cast this series in a sober-like way. 4 harvesters out here for Futurama, nothing out of the ordinary just yet. There's 5 and 2 for these guys. By the way, just want to remind you all that there's an 80-second delay, so if I read your comments, do bear in mind it'll be like 80 seconds later. So I'm probably not going to respond to chat. So if you guys are chatting, then I'm probably not going to read it and respond right away. So do bear that in mind. BikeRush getting down a second power plant on the left-hand side. He's going for a bunch of MRT rockets. Futurama, meanwhile, doing the same, but going for APCs. I think APC rocket is going to be better in this situation. Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and turn down this so it's not so jarring watching. Futurama going for the expansion. He's got 3 APCs and 2 pitbulls. BikeRush, meanwhile, going for a MRT missile, which I think is a better combination. All 3 of these, I assume, are garrisoned. Of course, there's no a 5th icon to show that you've got an infantry unit in there, but we can assume that BikeRush has something inside of those MRTs. He's going to go ahead and start pushing into this base. 1 APC immediately falls to Futurama, so BikeRush has kind of read Futurama like a book, and yeah, those APCs will be falling. Even a mine drop could come down. Futurama does get the evac on that APC. Missile squad comes out. It is GDI versus Steel Talons. Pog, Steel Talons. They're going to be the best faction in R20. I hope. Of course, I'm not biased for any particular faction, but they have received much love in R20 with the Titan collision box and the $3,000 railguns, which takes the same time to upgrade as before. But yeah, I'm not going to go into patch Leaf mode. It's just going to be casting Leaf in this series. You guys will see how the games will progress. I'm going to turn on the help bar so we can see the micro. Bike is just all over Futurama. Titans in this base. There's a Pred tank out here. These Titans are moving in. Titans will probably be crushed. Yeah, Titans trying to crush the harvesters, not going to be able to get there, but this is because this is stalling Futurama significantly. And BikeRush's force will be destroyed, but he does kill 1 harvester, or he may have killed more than 1 actually, because these 2, he's only got 3 Futurama, unless he made units on 4 harvesters. BikeRush, meanwhile, he's got 4 and 2 on his expansion, and in his main, he's also got a lot of income as well. That harvester mining in a very odd fashion, but we can expect that with that change that I implemented. And this harvester here will mine as you would expect. So there you see it is working as intended. Of course, this is a trial, so we're hoping that it minimizes the risk of harvester bugging. If it does not, then my theory didn't work. This is not a random picked series. These two guys picked their factions. BikeRush went for the Steel Talons, which is not a bad choice in R20 because they were buffed, as mentioned prior. Talons, Titan coming out here for BikeRush. He's probably going to just send this to the blue Tiberium field. He's not sending any harvesters up here. Neither side going to send harvesters. Infantry standing in Tiberium, never good for their health. Unless... No, there's no unless. There's no Zocom for Futurama, so he's not going to be able to get that Tiberium resistance on his infantry. Control tower right there. Pretty good to get early on, because you can see if your opponent's taking blue Tiberium. BikeRush has a pretty big advantage, but it's not over yet for Futurama. 3 harvesters in the expansion for Futurama. He's got 3 on his main. This is the first game of this series, so Futurama is probably just warming up. Likewise for BikeRush owns. BikeRush on 4 harvesters. He's got his MCV taking up to tier 3. Probably going to get the railgun upgrade because it is inexpensive for the Steel Talons to get that. Harvesters will be going down. 1 falls there for Futurama. Not going to pursue down those orcas, so BikeRush will escape with 2 of his orcas. Some Titans there for BikeRush. He's just going to pull back because he knows he probably can't win just yet. Triple War Factory, I think, for Bike. No, he sold his original War Factory off, but he put a second one down in his main. He's not going for a Reclamator hub, which you'd think you'd want to see, because even if Bike made a Reclamator hub and it's a Steel Talons Marv, he can't put Zone Troopers in it. He can still make that Marv and send it to the other side of the map and harvest Futurama's Tiberium field if he feels that he's sufficiently ahead. But he does have to watch for the EMP grenades. Futurama probably has studied the patch notes, so he knows that EMP grenades are really good for EMPing stuff. It's not quite like a Lightened, which Rex says they only were... The delay with the EMP was only reduced by like 0.25 seconds. It may feel like it works now, but sometimes it didn't even throw. That's why it's perceived to be much better now, because it simply does not bug as it used to, because the infantry unit cannot be overridden in that time when it's throwing them, which is the main thing. So Futurama, he's going to be up against Railgun, Mammoth tanks. Railgun's already online for BikeRush, but BikeRush is going to have to get more Wolverines to deal with his infantry force. Actually, there is composite armor done for Futurama. No airborne, as we can see. There's no golden infantry just yet. Mammoth tank will be forced to pull back. BikeRush Jones getting down the expansion. He's got 3 harvesters mining away. No bugs just yet on these halves. Look how much further out on the refinery that these harvesters have to dock. So we can see now that these halves have absolutely no issue with their docking. No issues for either side just yet. Of course, this is a trial. This is an experiment. I don't know for sure if it's better or not. I guess only with time we will see. But so far, so good. Has not disrupted the game. Futurama decides to call it quits with all those railguns on the map. So that's going to be GG. Futurama going down in that game 1-0. So yeah, well done to him. And let's see what Shanks has to say about this. Bounty on bike is $150. Okay, so this is a bounty apparently. Futurama is challenging BikeRush, and if he wins, he takes $150. So he has to put on a better show here. He is not going to be pleased about that game, not putting up much resistance, so he took catastrophic early game damage. So let's see if Futurama can bring this back. It's only 1-0, it's a best of 11. We're hoping that it doesn't go to a 7-0, so we'll see how that goes. New shows up in this stream, which I'm sure there will be as this stream progresses. Anyways, this is going to be game number 2 of this best of 11 series. And yeah, Futurama is over on the left-hand side playing as the Cyan GDI, and BikeRush over to the right of him playing as the red Steel Talons. Sticking with Steel Talons, which is a pretty smart choice. He's probably going to go for the same strategy as we saw last game, I think, with MRTs, and probably push into Futurama's expansion. With those MRTs, BikeRush has good micro. He can go for a rig rush, but we all know that's not going to happen in the high-stakes bounty such as this, because if Futurama takes this best of 11 series, he's earned himself $150, which is a good sum of money for him. So yeah, BikeRush owns on the right. He has to defend his title. He gets, of course, money for each win that he secures himself. So he has an incentive here to take as many games as possible. And whoever challenges BikeRush will be having to put on their best show, because BikeRush is currently the #1 player of Kane's draft, despite the outcome of the 2023 Winter Championship. BikeRush owns still holds the crown for being the #1 player, because BikeRush did not participate in that tournament. Anyways, Futurama, he is off to a bad start in this game #2, because he just does lose a scouting squad. He's not going to be able to see BikeRush's base, so a lot of mind games will be happening between these two players. BikeRush owns, on the other hand, will get his scout into Futurama's base. Construction yard there, just working on that second refinery. Futurama does clean up that scout, which is a wise move, because BikeRush would have just dug a foxhole near the power plant, and that would have been more expensive in the long term for Futurama to take care of. So yeah, Futurama's going to have another scout on the map, some more eyes on the map, and BikeRush once again gets another first shot on this squad. Not that Futurama had a chance of winning that engagement anyways, because that scouting squad was already damaged. So yeah, it is winner picks, as it always is. I don't think it's worth mentioning that the winner picks the loser. Oh, the winner picks the next map. So it's not loser picks the whole series. Okay, that's interesting. So BikeRush Jones has the advantage. If he even wins this game, he can pick the next map according to the sponsor of this. So that's good for BikeRush. BikeRush, on the other hand, he's getting down expansion. Nothing out of the ordinary just yet. A couple of Pipples coming out. Futurama, he usually goes early for a bunch of blue Tiberium. Did he do just that this game? Or did BikeRush secure that Tiberium himself? Yeah, look, BikeRush took a full load of blue Tiberium almost. And down south, we can see the blue field is regrowing. Nothing harvested just down there for BikeRush owns. But Futurama has the opportunity to take that Tiberium. Futurama, because he didn't take blue tib, he's going to be a little bit ahead on that refinery placement. Probably had a little bit more funds, because it does take twice as long to get Tiberium, because you have to travel all this distance to the blue Tiberium field. So I imagine you can get 2 full loads of green Tiberium in the time it takes to get 1 blue load of tib from that position. But the good thing is, if you harvest from the blue Tiberium fields, you're going to get more income overall as the game goes on, because when you deplete your green Tiberium fields and you took the blue, you would have had more resources. Your total income would have been more than your opponent's. And that's when it matters a lot. BikeRush getting down that second refinery. A bunch of Pipples for Futurama. There's not much here really to defend the harvesters. BikeRush does have 4 or 5 Pipples, but he's overrun here. These Pipples of Futurama could go in and cause trouble, but maybe he doesn't want to expend these forces just yet. Could have gone up to the north and killed this harvester. He may, if he is paying attention, just send his Pipples up there. BikeRush seems to have identified that vulnerability a little bit sooner than Futurama. Futurama, he instead is just going for BikeRush's main. BikeRush doesn't have a barracks, but never mind, he does have one here. No harvester bugs just yet. Of course, I'm a little bit concerned of harvester bugging, because of this fix. It is quite a fix, so we're hoping that it works just fine. So far, no problems at all, which is great to see. Missile squads here, no airborne infantry, which are golden in R20. If you see golden infantry, those are the veteran units you get from GDI Airborne. Those are supposed to be golden. It was from EA's texture pack. It literally said airborne GDI, which literally means it's for the support power. They have those, what are they called? The chevrons on their shoulders, so they have on their uniforms to indicate that they are elite infantry of GDI. Infantry standing on Tiberium once again, never good, but it's not going to do too much damage unless you're like walking over blue tip. That does significantly more damage to infantry. Pitbull's just roaming across the map for Futurama. I expect he would have teched up to by tier 3 by now. He's got AP ammo online. He's got this tier 3. I imagine BikeRush as well has also teched up to tier 3. Not working on that railgun upgrade just yet. 4 Orcas out, 4 BikeRush zones. BikeRush, he hasn't really done a lot, has he? He's got a bunch of Wolverines, 4 Orcas, but there's loads of Pitbulls. But I think Futurama has missed the pits, but he does have good game awareness, and he knows he must have scouted earlier that there are 4 Orcas on the map. No hardpoints online for BikeRush. Pretty cheap upgrade in R20. Well, I say cheap, it's $500 less. So it's more, it's going to offset that Stratofighter cost reduction, cost increase, because we never see hardpoints. It's not really an upgrade that players get, but I think it's worth the money now. Wolverines are just insane versus infantry. That was bad for Futurama. I mean, he does kill 2 Wolverines, which is a pretty okay trade. They're going to come out even there. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Futurama are spamming Juggernauts, but against the Behemoths, those Jugs are no match. Behemoths have 10% more armor. So those Behemoths are going to be better in a situation like this. Plus, BikeRush has ample anti-infantry. A Marv comes out. And you can see I've got my unique skin on this Marv. I have not yet finished it, but it is a work in progress. But that is something that I am very happy to put in my Alt 4K mod. That red Marv looks absolutely insane. This is exactly like the concept art. I even sampled assets from EA concept arts. And there was a couple of textures which I used clever methods to extract information from. But yeah, this is basically one-to-one, almost, what they had in the development stage of Kane's Wrath. So I'm very happy to have this in this cast. It's going to be better in the future. You're going to see this in the Alt 4K mod. EMP grenades probably for Futurama, unless that was like a sold-off Grenadier from his tier 3. I don't imagine he would sell his tier 3 off. Whoever gets Shockwave here will win this game. BikeRush Jones needs to cast that Shockwave on this Marv if he wants to do well. EMP grenades comes down for BikeRush Jones. It's a battle of the EMP. Futurama will clean up that EMP, but there's more coming in here for Futurama. He's going to throw that EMP down on that Marv. More EMP coming down. Futurama must have forgot to have thrown the EMP. That is unfortunate. He does EMP a Pitbull. Marv of Futurama on full health. BikeRush has EMP grenades. He has also 3 or 4 Juggernauts in the back there. These Juggernauts are trading much better versus Futurama's Juggernauts. But Sonic Emitter does come down. The Marv was EMP'd as well. And now BikeRush can move forward and EMP his opponent's Marv. This Marv is just tanking so much damage. That's the thing about Marvs. They tank so much damage. And I think both players are going to end up losing their Marvs. But yeah, the longer that this Marv sustains damage, the more time it's going to give Futurama to clean up BikeRush owns Juggernauts. These Juggernauts are being reclaimed. BikeRush miraculously will get himself another Juggernaut. I think Futurama was focusing on that. Actually, yeah, BikeRush decides to just throw it in. That's 1-1 right away. Futurama takes a game on Tournament Highlands. So we've got ourselves a good series on our hands, folks. 1-1 in this best of 11 series. So it's not going to be a crushing victory for either side. It's going to be a series where both sides will fight till the death. I didn't save the first replay. I really should have. But I will save this one here. So well done to Futurama for taking game number 2. Let's see how game number 3 goes. Oh, I'm muted as well. Well, that's not a good start to this game number 3. I must have muted my microphone by accident. That was a big mistake. So I pulled a green 0 there. Thankfully, I have a third monitor. I've got 3 monitors, so I quickly noticed that that was happening 80 seconds late because I do have a delay on my stream. So that was unfortunate, guys. But yeah, let me just go over these players real quick. So on the left, on the top of this map, we can see Futurama playing as the Cyan Scrin. And in the bottom will be BikeRush Jones playing as the Red GDI. Now, the reason I'm starting from this position is because I have a mic mute before. So not really much has happened during that time. But I did notice quickly, and I am now unmuted. Thankfully, I did see, and crisis is averted. But it could have been much worse. Rifleman there will catch this buzzer, will kill it right away. There is 2 garrisons, which have been garrisoned by Futurama. 2 blue Tiberium fields. This map has 2 Tiberium spikes also per player. Very much reminds me of an upcoming 2v2 map that Dimitri's working on when it comes to terrain and layout. Well, not layout, but when it comes to the theme and the terrain. So there is a lot of channel points on BikeRush owns, which is to be expected. Futurama, obviously the underdog going into this series, but it is 1-1. And his mic muted, yeah. I made a mistake there. I got a good mic mute feature. It works well. Doesn't fail me. But Green Zero's done this mistake before. I mean, that would make him equally as bad as me. Seeker's out though for Futurama. I have my microphone working now though, guys, so there's no issue at all. Expansion coming down for Futurama. Of course, he isn't the Scrin faction. He got the patch at last, which is what blows my mind. He didn't download the patch, and I spammed over and over again that I to download the patch. I made it clear. I even made the text bold, formatted the text to Futurama. I said, download the patch update. You've got to download it or it will desync. And you didn't download it, so what a surprise. The game desyncs. Anyways. What is this map? This is a map. BMP center in the middle. 2 fields per player and 2 blue Tyroon fields. So whoever secures those blue Tyroon fields will be probably winning this match. There's no third field to fight over, which is good for Zocom, actually. I actually like this map for Zocom for that reason. Because it's not going to boil down to whoever wins that third field with artillery, which is a good design. It lends much from Badlands and Highlands, but it doesn't have that blue tip field in the middle. It has an EMP control center, a lot of terrain as well, which is good for hammerheads to fight over. I think this map's going to be really great for aircraft. BikeRush with a bunch of APC rockets here. Should get this one back to base to repair. It's on low HP, but not nearly as low as that MCV I had versus Dirty Dutch the other day. That was pretty much on 0.1 health. Not even 1 health. It was in the decimal value. You could not see the health bar. It was completely gone. There was no trace of health at all, and the unit was alive. So it had to be like that health bar, health percentage. Devour attacks coming out for Futurama, which is a really unorthodox choice. You only see those when you're getting pressured a lot by something. BikeRush is going for a bunch of APCs of APM. It got the upgrade very quick. Maybe he thought it was versus China 59. Tier 3 down for BikeRush. He is playing the GDI vanilla this game after that loss with Steel Talons. In the middle of the map, we see a hammerhead here. BikeRush is going to pull that one back. 3 shielded Seekers. For some reason, Futurama got the shields on his Seeker tanks. Not sure why exactly. But yeah, Warp Sphere coming down for him. He's going to probably go for two Warp Sphere tripods, I would imagine. BikeRush going for that Marv. We're going to see that Marv in all its glory again. Still can't hear you. I'm afraid that doesn't work, guys. I am very much hearable because I can see my levels on the other monitor. This is why you have more than one monitor when you're streaming. Not that I use it for streaming, but it's really good for multitasking. I could never function off of one monitor like Green Zero does. It's just not possible for me. I would never be able to do the patched work as well with one monitor. It's just simply overwhelming, the amount of things that are required. I need like multiple Windows Explorers open at the same time. I need my 3D program open at the same time. I need my Photoshop open in another window. I need to refer to both of them at the same time. And then I need to have a notepad in another window in another screen. So it requires a lot of screen real estate, the stuff that I've been doing, and it has increased my productivity. And I would not have been able to do this patch and everything inside of it without that. So it's really great, and plus it helps me identify that my mic was muted. So I was able to quickly correct that issue before it resulted in the whole game not having any microphone audio. BikeRush with that Marv once again, and for all of you who are not just tuning in, that is the Marv. That's the concept art Marv. It's not finished just yet. There's some more sign that is to be put on there, but it is a work in progress. Almost finish it. It's gonna be really, really nice when it's finished. But yeah, I spent a long time on this. Firehawk Stratofightering in. Gonna go ahead and bomb this tech, but that's not gonna work because the Storm Column has a ability to one-shot Firehawks, and BikeRush should have known this. He's been playing out 19 for like half a year now, so that was a big mistake by him. Now the Marv is out for BikeRush. He does have that built. Going to put 2 zones and 2 engineers in it, so he's going to have ample repair opportunity. Juggernaut's out here for him. He's going for railguns, I think. No railguns. Mind you, standalone Mav tanks are really good now. The score is currently 2-1 in 1-1 for both sides, so neither side has an advantage in this best of 11 series. Harvester gets sniped there for Bike. So BikeRush in a very bad position, actually. Losing a Harvester, losing 3 Firehawks, not getting the tech center. Futurama sitting comfortable here with his Hexapod. He can lane this if he chooses, but remember, he can't crush Juggernauts anymore, like instantly. Dev ships coming out for him. He's in a pretty good position. Should have gone in with 5 Firehawks or baited the Storm Column with an Orca Strike or even a V-35 transport or something like that. Even use a Supersonic Airstrike. The column will actually attack the fighters. There's an expensive thing, but mind you, this has a 4-second reload time, so you can get 4 seconds of window. BikeRush should invest in hard points. It's a $2,000 upgrade. He just seems a little bit on edge. This is uncharacteristic of BikeRush owns to be suiciding in Firehawks like this. He's got his Marv here, though. The GDI Marv, and it's in all its glory, almost. Absolutely love this. I much prefer this to the original skin. This is what they had in mind. In fact, I sampled art from EA for this, and it's just, I think they had this in mind originally. There was an icon which looks exactly like this, so it just looks better. It looks more, it just looks better in my opinion. I like that GDI logo on the top. Did you just lose 2 Hawks for nothing? Yes, he did. He lost 3 Hawks for nothing when he tried to bomb that to tier 3. Harvesters here. This is actually, it's hard to tell. I mean, Futurama, he's taking these good trades, but he's not dealing any damage to Bike. He's just sitting there. I think he needs to wormhole into this base and try and capture a tier 3 or something. Harvesters, no bugs just yet. Neither side complaining about Harvester bugging, which is a good thing. That is probably a mistake, I would imagine. Why is he V-35 Oxing a Grenadier squad? That's just not... That doesn't make sense, does it? Unless he's going to send that across the map and EMP the stasis chambers so he denies the stasis. Then again, you should just kill the stasis chamber outright with your Firehawks, right? I mean, that's just a better option. Anyway, the EMP Grenadier... Oh, he's going to EMP the Storm Column and then kill the Storm Column with the Firehawks. But it's not going to work because there's 3 Gunwalkers here and BikeRush has already found out. There's 2 Gunwalkers. BikeRush is like, what the hell? There's a freaking Gunwalker there. Futurama has spotted this and immediately shut down seconds of BikeRush's planning. So BikeRush is unable to get any damage dealt. He should have got the railgun upgrade by now. Should have got some zone heads out as well. There's actually railguns already out on the map. Yeah, I'm blind. Railguns already purchased. And, oh my god, once again, the Firehawks tried to bomb the Technology Assembler and could not get it. Should get the hard points upgrade. It's a very awkward spot to engage.
Rig, ready to move
You
out.
really have to go in and use the Orca Strike to bait the shot from the Storm Column. I'm not sure why BikeRush is not doing that. Either V-35 he had there with the Grenadier, he should have just sent it in to bait the Storm Column and just bomb the tech afterwards. It's going to be too little too late now though, because he's moving in with this Marv. There's EMP Grenadiers moving in, but these dev ships are going to make short work of Grenadiers. This rig's already taken a lot of damage, and now BikeRush are going to have to use this EMP. EMP comes down on this, not quite actually. BikeRush going to have to throw this EMP. Uses it on their Hexapod, not able to get that crush off. Mav tanks moving into this base, but there's just too many tripods here. One of the Juggernauts is EMP. Let's bring out the Hellfires so we can see this big fight in action. MCV has actually been stasised, which is a pretty big deal. The tripods are in overwhelming numbers. BikeRush is just going to pay very dearly for this, losing those units before. MCV going to be taken out quickly. Now Futurama should just focus down on these tripods. Eradicate a Hexapod still EMP'd. Generating resources while in that phase state. There's an elite Juggernaut back there, but that's not going to be enough. Futurama takes game number 3 in pretty decisive fashion. BikeRush making too many mistakes there with his Firehawks. Just not coordinating well against that tech. You should have known that there was a Storm Column there. That's just not... it's a big mistake. It's really simple to use an Orca Strike or just get freaking hard points. If you get hard points, which is a $2 grand upgrade, you can go in and kill. the tech pretty easily. So let's go into game number 4. Futurama currently holds a 2-1 advantage in this best of 11 series. Let's see if he can continue with this dominating show so far. If BikeRush can put it back and get himself another point on the score sheet. It's a very close series, 2-1. This can go either way. BikeRush is still the favorite to win. As we can see by the channel points on my Twitch channel, some people are now starting to bet on Futurama winning. So these two games have convinced several more people that Futurama has a good chance of taking this series. Anyways, BikeRush on the top will be playing as the GDI. He's going to be red. And in the bottom, Futurama going to stick with his faction. He's going to go with the Cyan Scrin once again. I guess after that game on that map, which I just don't know the name of. I just don't know the name of the map yet, guys. Maybe in a couple of weeks I'll know the name. But at the moment, I just don't know. I can't memorize all the names of the new maps. But I did compile that map for Desolator Trooper. He's been doing a fantastic job on the new maps, so big shout out to Desolator for providing the new maps to the 1v1 map pool. We did have a couple removals as well. One thing I should have done was removed all the health bars on this map with all these structures, but I just don't have the time to do everything. Maybe in the future I will override these structures to not have health bars on them and these road segments, which is definitely possible. I can remove all these health bars from all this stuff here, which shouldn't have them when you turn on health bars. Nonetheless, though, I'm going to remove them for now and just scroll over the units that I think are taking damage. New subground. The subground actually works well. That map no longer has a Storm Rider for the right player, because before one player had access to a Storm Rider, which was a mistake because Desolator used it to just get screenshots for his map. But you should just reveal the whole map with a world builder script instead. It's much easier to do it that way. Then you can see the whole map. You can even change things like the pitch and different angles. These are destroyable, by the way. These Tiberium crystals, you can actually target them and they will fall over. It's one of the only neutral structures that are actually destructible. Not that it's going to have any gameplay significance, but if something like shoots near here, this crystal will fall down. Very, very detailed map, though. This is a Pred era map. And we're seeing the Desolator maps are actually getting to the point where they are on par with Predator's level to detail. Des has a very good artistic sense, and we saw on that last map the detail is just very, very good, and it plays well as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing more maps from him. Much better than the first maps that he's done. The maps that we're seeing now are better quality. I am a big fan of that Toxicity map. Hope to see that get played in this series. This is a really weird garrison. I've never seen it before. This is the only map that I've seen this building here. There's several structures on this map that I have not seen. But they are garrisons, even this one here. Not sure exactly what location this is, but they are garrisons. This one up here as well. I think this has a lot of health by default, this one. BikeRush going in for a scout. He's going for 3 rocket APCs. Just going to delay Futurama. Keep Futurama at bay. Futurama's not going for any growth accelerators, though he may do now, because he's building something that's taking too long to build. Oh man, this harvester may get destroyed. BikeRush should push in for it maybe. Oh no, he's not going to. That's probably a mistake. Buzzer Hive gets built by Futurama. Futurama now just going to queue another harvester. This series has $150 on the line, so if Futurama want to take that big bounty, BikeRush could be going down to Futurama in this series. Futurama has big motivation. He can take home $150, which is no small amount of change. That's a big amount of money. So he has a lot of motivation. And he's doing well here. He's got 5 Seekers and a Gunwalker. The pre-series practice has paid off for him. He's going down for that second refinery. BikeRush owns not yet getting down that second ref. He's going for an upgrade here. Maybe he's going for hard points before anything else because I told him to. I don't know. He's going for Stratofighter actually. So he's just doing a Firehawk build, and I think Futurama should suss this out. Futurama is well way off from getting his tech center down. So yeah, he could be falling victim to these Firehawks because he doesn't have enough really to punish it. BikeRush has the forces necessary to repel Seeker attacks, especially when he's getting that AP ammo. AP ammo almost researched. BikeRush going for a very oppressive strategy here with 2 airfields, and Yeah, BikeRush does get money, I think, per win. So $20, I think, per win for BikeRush, or 15. I'm not exactly sure. But I don't know exactly how it works out. But I know for sure that the winner will take home $150. I think if I do... I don't know, man. I don't know the exact details, but I will post it in my video. Oh, man, that almost didn't go down. Wow. So, Futurama was able to get that in that tech center. BikeRush couldn't bomb the tier 3. Tier 2, he must have pulled his firewalk away a little bit sooner than what he needed to. That was a disaster. The tier 2 gets destroyed, but the tech center lives. And now Futurama is just going to queue a storm column and put it near his tech center. APC's coming in. BikeRush is going to try and take out this refinery, try and get as much damage as he can. There's a reclamator hub out here for BikeRush. He's going to go ahead and make that Marv and Marvis this Tiberium in the bottom and get an army of mammoth tanks with railguns, which are probably going to be invincible. If I lose my points, I'm going to lose my... Yeah, that's... A lot of people have been betting on BikeRush. No harvester bugs, though, for either side, which is... I keep mentioning this, but the refineries function a lot differently than they used to. Look at the distance that the harvester has to wait before he can dock. So the docking distance is a little bit further out. CGF never altered this. I don't think anyone really attempted to mod this. Speaking of bug, there is a bug here. BikeRush has actually got a bugged harvester. So literally, as I said, there is a bug here. BikeRush is not paying attention. So, oh my god, that's not good. So it looks like the bug was not fixed with the harvesters. And BikeRush is going to be, unfortunately, going to be falling victim to this bug here. With the harvesters, he needs to pay attention and correct this as quick as possible. He's not paying attention to his harvesters. BikeRush, oh no, this is a big disaster. This is a big disaster. But I think it would have happened anyways. This game just is not particularly clever when it comes to harvesters. I did attempt to correct this, but I'm afraid that it is not enough in the end. BikeRush, he's just not focused yet. He does not know yet that his harvesters are getting absolutely bugged. Just as I mentioned, this series is just not going down well for BikeRush owns. BikeRush owns still not focusing on his harvesters, so this is a disaster. Do I feel responsible? Probably not. And BikeRush owns is now beginning his harvesters, saying, "Look, that bug there. Why did that happen?" There's some things from this game that you just won't be able to remove, but I'm hoping that maybe the likelihood of it is just less likely, but it doesn't seem to have changed anything. It's the same, and the likelihood is exactly the same. So you got to be on the lookout for it, but it is what it is. Things like that, you got to be very, very on the ball to just look out for. BikeRush probably was irritated there. He's just not getting a good luck at all, is he? And the Scrin halves, once again, they're just unvulnerable. They just don't get bugged. Never have I seen Scrin halvesters bug. But the Jedi ones, they do. Even with this new change. So, yeah, Jedi harvesters are docking as they are now. So, those are just fine. BikeRush owns, he's just trying to fix his income. And I mean, he did harvest as much as Futurama, but he should be a little bit more ahead now. He's got the Marv to compensate for this. Futurama has got his tier 3 down, not a lot of tech units, but I think BikeRush is still going to take this game with the railguns that he has. He's going for triple war factory, double war factory railguns, just spamming railgun Preds and APCs. He should be able to just walk into this base and kill everything. Especially with this Marv down here, just Marvisting this Tiberium. Which it should do, because the weapon fires off like 3 times faster than before. Is this R20 though? I think it is, right? Yeah, it should be. We can go ahead and check the... Gonna go ahead and check BikeRush's airfield so I can see the cost of the hard points. Never mind, I guess we're not going to see that. Anything else? I guess I can see the riflemen. Yeah, the riflemen have the rifle, right? With the AP ammo upgrade. Man, it's really difficult to see on this map. Yeah, they do have the rifles with the AP ammo model, so this is R20. Well, I gave it my best shot, and I'm afraid Jedi Harvesters is just the same as before, so Well, at least you can see the health bars though. Before they had little health bars. Now you can see the health bars. They're not minuscule. Big army of Pred APC in the top of the map. BikeRush needs to get those in. Harvesters here docking. I need to pay attention to this. Is this one going to bug here? Nope. No, the Harvester AI is exactly the same as before. Of course, some things are just hard-coded into the game. We just see a Firehawks come in, but they didn't bomb anything of significance. Gravity Stabilizer for Futurama. That gets thrown down. Now, there was no guarantees that the Harvester bug would have been fixed. It was just an idea that I had to try and fix it, but ultimately, I don't know. I guess we'll only tell in time. Could be a very rare instance of that happening. But we'll see only with large sample size of games if it has an impact or not. Big attack here for BikeRush own. Stasis Shield comes down. Those Pred tanks getting absolutely destroyed, but the Marv is going to be an issue for Futurama. Yeah, there's just nothing really to combat this Marv. This Marv's going to tear up everything. The concept art Marv just going ham on this base. Dev tank's going to be absolutely no match for the power of this GDI Marv. And that Marv with its triple-barreled rotating cannon going to come out ahead and take that game. The GDI forces prevail in the end. So BikeRush owns getting himself level with Futurama. It's going to be 2-2 in this best of 11 series. And we're going to go on to game number 5 and see how that goes. And again, I didn't go over the eco graph. I apologize for that, guys. That is my mistake. Alright, so we go into game number 5, which is going to take us on to Toxicity, which is a brand new map. So it's nice to see some of the new maps represented early on in this R20 patch. And in the left-hand side, we can see Futurama playing once again as the Cyan Scrin, not switching it up, no, going for Trial 59. And on the right-hand side, we see BikeRush switching to the Nod. So he's probably going for a strategy that which he prepared last night versus Rex. Of course, Rex a very potent Scrin player, so BikeRush got some good practice on this map. And Futurama, he's going to be pretty happy with his results so far. It's pretty much like the series just started, so we'll see if BikeRush can take this series back. A lot of players are betting on BikeRush taking this series, which is understandable. BikeRush, even though he's behind or level, he's going to always be the favorite because he's just more likely to take a series. He is the best player, I would say, overall with all the 9 factions. Nonetheless, let's go over this map real quick, give you all a quick tour of this map. So this is Toxicity, and in the top it looks like a very natural part of the world. There's forests here, and there's not much really besides a defensive tower in the middle. A lot of trees, mountains. Both sides have 2 Tiberium spikes that are not contested. As well as a close second Tiberium field. In the middle of the map we can also see a blue tip field which starts off with no Tiberium crystals, and moving to the south there is a industrial area which has a lot of garrisonable buildings, a lot of detail put into this map, which is the case with Desolator maps, but there is a huge industrial section to the south of this map, and there is third Tiberium fields which are pretty large in size. I think the games are going to be very interesting going into the late game on this map. Can't wait to see a game that goes all the way, especially with this huge space down here. I think a lot of fighting will take place in the middle. I think the factions with artillery will, as always, have an advantage on this map, but there is plenty of space for Zocom to maneuver its forces around and cut off their opponents from, and even just take out their opponent's first base and second base. Pretty big map, and I like the map. I think it's a very unique map, and definitely the map that I want to see more of. I rarely say that about new maps, but this one seems to have potential. Can't wait to play it myself. There are 4 bunkers though in the middle of this map, though they are pretty damaged. They're not full health bunkers which have a ton of health. EMP control center here right in the middle, so if you can garrison these up as a GI or a Black Hand faction, you're never going to lose that unless, I don't know, Buzzer Swarm comes in, but even then. So, Futurama, he's got a bunch of Seeker Gunwalker out, some blue Tiberium in the middle of the map once again, Gunwalker for Futurama. Buggies for BikeRush, he's going to use those to kill the Seekers. The Seekers take a lot of gun damage, so even though buggies are not supposed to counter vehicles, they can counter Seekers sometimes. But in this case here, BikeRush doesn't have enough. He's going to be forced back to his war factory. I think what Futurama should do is go to BikeRush's expansion and put down a reconstruction drone support power. Then he'd be able to outdo the damage of those raider buggies and kill the raider buggies. But because he doesn't have any reconstruction drones or a lightning spike to assist, I think these Seekers are going to be pretty dead in the water, especially now with this Scorpion tank here. Futurama is just gifting too many forces to my liking. He does have a couple of Sins and Seekers in the south, but I think BikeRush has already scouted this. There's not enough forces up on the top of the map to really distract BikeRush enough to pay his attention to this harvester line. But yeah, there is a harvester here. Maybe BikeRush can lose this. There actually is a second harvester, which is really damaged. BikeRush is not paying attention, and that harvester will go down right away. An attack over here in the south, but BikeRush has spotted that. So that attack will get nowhere. One Seeker goes down, but the harvester falls for BikeRush zones. There is a second harvester there, which is taking a lot of damage. Harvesters often not do unstealth when they get to that critical damage state. A little bit of bugging here as well. BikeRush zones beginning his harvesters. Not much has really changed in the not harvesters though. Notice how Futurama has absolutely no issues at all with his harvesters. They're all functioning normally. You're probably not even looking at them. As is the case with the Scrin, as overall they just seem to have harvesters that never bug. I think because it's just the way that the dock of the refinery works, it's just so much easier for harvester to dock into this Scrin ref than the GDI and Nod ones, which are a little bit more complex. But yeah, there's a counterattack coming in for BikeRush zones. He's got a bunch of Scorpion tanks and raider buggies, and there's like a storm column here of a tripod. I don't see this attack being halted here for Futurama. He needs a tech, and he needs it now. He's got a tech center, but he's a long way off from getting a column down. There's a bunch of distance in the top here, but I think that Futurama has completely underestimated this force. He's going to lose his foothold on this base. BikeRush owns, probably taking up the team tier 3 in the meantime. Yeah, he gets down his tech, going for that upgrade with the laser capacitors. No dozer blaze just yet. The Scorpion tanks will pull back because he feels that there's probably a storm column coming down, which is correct. I think BikeRush could have capitalized a bit more. That's going to give time for Futurama to get down a defense against that. A couple of tanks actually being taken out here for BikeRush. BikeRush losing 2 tanks. That's a bit of a mistake. These Descents getting free damage. The Raider Buggy should really be there to attack. And if Futurama is paying attention, he'll notice that the crystals are being harvested in the middle blue Tiberium field. 4 Tiberium crystals there. There's actually 2 stealth tanks that are stealth, but this tripod's going to come out the moment these stealth tanks start attacking. And I think Futurama has already spotted this as well. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh dearie, dearie me. I can't believe this. And yeah, that is unfortunate for Futurama. Futurama's force firing the ground. And yeah, BikeRush is just going to kill... He's going to kill the tech, but he loses 2 stealth flame tanks. So I don't know if that was worth it necessarily. If he gets the laser capacity upgrade online, then maybe it is worth it. But yeah, Futurama should just deploy his drone ship and get another tech center down ASAP. Now, Futurama has not used his stasis shield. He probably will need to build that now, because there is a lot of laser capacitor Scorpion tanks out on this map. And those are very difficult to counter without tripods. So that tech center kill was a big deal. A stasis chamber needs to come down pretty much right now on this army. Okay, tier 2 gets used, and I think now the Synths is the way forward, right? Disintegrators and try and clean up this force as much as possible. So yeah, Futurama is spamming the Synths. He's going for as much as he possibly can. These tripods are going to try and get damage dealt on this force. There's a lot of reinforcements here for BikeRush. He's just going to wait until there's sufficient number of Scorpions, and he's just going to move in and kill the tripods, and that's it. The Scorpion tanks are way too much in strength. Seekers without any upgrades are not going to do a good job against Scorpion tanks. These Scorps are taking splash damage though, so maybe with ample focus firing, these Seekers can deal with the Scorpion tanks, but it's going to be tricky. More reinforcements for BikeRush zones coming in. Resilient defense for Futurama, but I think it's just going to be overwhelming. I think BikeRush is going to move into this base. Losing that tech center was a big deal. I think Futurama should have deployed his drone ship a little sooner and built a you know, another tier 3, because he didn't build one as soon as he could. So that's going to put BikeRush zones in the lead now. He's going to be 3-2 ahead in this series. Eco-wise, I imagine both sides were the same. The damage that was inflicted by Futurama was not enough. BikeRush was too good to spot the second group of units in his natural expansion, and he was able to shut that attack down. So, yeah, BikeRush is going to take a small break in this. It's 3-2 currently in this best of 11 series. And we're going to go on to game number 6 right now. Blackhand versus Traveler is a very interesting choice. I don't know if it's the right one, though. I think Mark to Kane or not's better. Particularly Mark to Kane. Hopefully BikeRush doesn't forget the quad tire upgrade, which is now $1,000. Takes 30 seconds to upgrade. Every upgrade besides railguns and shields for the tripods for Scrin takes 15 seconds for every $500 that the upgrade costs. And that's actually standard for all of the upgrades in the game. I like to keep things consistent, so the cost adjustments and I did correspond to the norm, with 15 seconds being for $500. Just so the upgrade cost to upgrade per second is the same for all the upgrades. Are the updated Aquatech maps in R20? I did remove some of the maps that belong to Aquatech in the map pack. So let us begin. It's going to be game number 6, and BikeRush holds a 3-2 advantage in this best of 11 series. Let's see if Futurama can take a game here. BikeRush switching to Scrin, and Futurama going with GDI. So could have been a little bit of mind games. Futurama this time going with the GDI. So we're going to see if GDI can beat Scrin of bike. Bike's probably going to abuse the disintegrators early on, and we're going to probably see railguns as well from Futurama. Let's see how this goes, though. Marv is better at that Marvesting ability. Marv is, I would say, overall buffed because its bug is no longer a thing. Anyways, in the top of this map, we can see Futurama playing as the Cyan GDI, and in the bottom, BikeRush going with the red Scrin. Again, I don't know what this map's called, I don't know, but it's a map that has a pretty interesting layout once again. It's like that map that we saw with the 2 opposite blue Tiberium fields in the middle of the map. Instead, this map has 1 blue tip field in the middle, a little bit of terrain here, which is going to make it good for hammerheads to traverse, and things like aircraft. Overall, though, I would say there's a lot of strategies and different tactics you can perform on this map. I had great success with flame tank strategies as Black Hand. That's why BikeRush probably originally picked the Black Hand faction. But then he probably remembered in the last minute that flame tanks with blue flame would be nerfed, which they were because they were just broken. Black Hand's still a very potent faction, but it's not the faction to pick all the time. There is a time and place for that. War Factory coming down, though, for Futurama. He's going to pop that one down. Going to get down another Harvester. Not much aggression in the early game from either of these factions. It's only really the Black Hands and the Nods that have the ability to really win early on with a strategy like Flame Tanks and Reckoners. Those are the 2 main strategies that can end a game. Descent rushing as well for Traveler is good. Even the Ravager rush can be potent, but it is countered by Sniper APC. A lot of players like to go for the Hammerhead, but it's actually quicker and cheaper to build a Sniper APC, and then you can just kill the Ravagers with your Sniper APC and then kill. Because for each Ravager that is killed, the damage output of the Rav squad is reduced with the Tip Agitation ability. So it's a nerf that occurred in R20. It was like that in the base game. CGF changed it. I undid the change. So technically it's a change. But no, then again, it's not really a change because I just undid his change. MCV expanding for Futurama. There's not pretty much room to expand. I mean, you could just probably rig rush in this map, put a command post right here, and then just expand with that command post build radius. You don't really need to move your conyard. It's a pretty good map for rig rushing because there is a mutant hovel on the right for this player and on the left for this player. It is a symmetrical map, which is normal. I mean, all competitive maps are symmetrical. It would be dumb if one player had an advantage over the other. Would not be fair, even though that's how many of the old C&C maps were. This map has blue Tiberium in it for BikeRush. He's going to grab himself a almost full load of blue Tiberium. Futurama going to garrison this building up here with a scout. He's going to have good eyes in the right hand side. There is an EMP control center adjacent to that building, as well as a marketplace here as well. Lots of details. There is even some tunnels back here. Nice creativity from Desolator. Looking like he's used these hangars to be like tunnels. So he's made use of the models that are available to him and improvised where he could. Is that a Visceroid? No, that's actually a Mutant Marauder right there. He's put Mutant Marauders right there. Something I did not know that was there until now. APC is going to defend against these Seekers. They were scouted. Of course, BikeRush has legendary scouting. Over here, BikeRush is going to defend his base as well. Mine Drop gets deployed. 2 Gunwalkers fall. Even a third could likely fall here. Yeah. This third Gunwalker is going to fall. And Futurama is going to take a nice little victory. He's actually focusing down the Gunwalker that's not on the full health. That one will go down. Seekers will be pushed back here. Futurama just winning engagements everywhere. He's going to take down a Seeker of Bike. So 3-4 Gunwalkers and a Seeker. So yeah, Gunwalkers and Seekers falling. Futurama not really losing a whole lot in return. And BikeRush is now forced to build a Devourer tank, which is probably not what he wanted to build. Probably wanted to go straight into tripods or maybe even a hexapod. A Stasis Chamber gets deployed right next to where Futurama was just at, which means that Futurama will see this Mastermind come out of the portal. Probably going to anticipate Wormhole to come in, and this should ring alarm bells. You should immediately start putting down watchtowers near his MCV. Get a Hammerhead out as well and just put it near your buildings. What I would do is I would put all the tech structures in the one place, even the MCV, and then just put one Hammerhead over there. And then you can secure the whole area for like 2 watchtowers, and it wouldn't be a problem. But yeah, nonetheless, there is a couple of APCs here for Futurama. He's got the Pred tanks as well to support, a watchtower as well. No tech just yet for Futurama, but he does have an air tower. That's a little bit late though. A column will come down for BikeRush, so pretty good position for BikeRush to be in. He does have a growth accelerator also on this tip field, so that's going to increase the rate at which these Tiberium seedlings spawn by 50%. So we're going to see more of these seedlings spawn. BikeRush. Now, seedlings only give you $144 as opposed to $355 for the full mature crystal. So if you just harvest a Tiberium field with a growth accelerator on it without letting it grow, you will get less resources. The key is to put this down and to just not harvest from the tib field for like a minute, and then you'll get a pretty good intact Condyard. The Mastermind actually survives with no health at all. BikeRush are going to be pretty chuffed about that. Going to put that on the Tiberium field, or he could just send it near to the Warp Spear and get some full repairs. Tiberium field works though as well. He's going to put that on that tib field. Or he could choose to just put his tripods through the wormhole, but there is a lot of Predator tanks there for Futurama. Now, Green Zero would probably be looking at this back saying I was right, about that 2-second delay. But then, again, if you had made it 2 seconds, it would completely nullify the support power to begin with. Just paying attention to these harvesters here. There's not really much out of the norm when it comes to harvester docking. It could be that just BikeRush is cursed and only he gets affected by harvester bugs today. But Futurama is completely untouched by that harvester bug just yet, which is good for him. Speaking of Futurama, he's going to get some blue Tiberium. Going to start harvesting this away. The tech center being destroyed is a big delay tactic. BikeRush would have been in some deep trouble if that had not went down. 4 tripods though for BikeRush. He's just spamming tripods and gunwalkers, and he's going to move in with this huge force of units when he gets enough of it. That hexapod's going to generate resources for BikeRush over time as well. There is no second growth accelerator on that tip field. BikeRush is going to start transferring harvesters to that expansion. He's going to keep mining away at this tip field. He's going to get more resources for himself, but the thing is, Scrin units are often less cost effective. Like we see Seekers, they have very weak armor. They are very expensive for what they are, but that's offset by the fact that Scrin get more income, and the later the game goes, the more that Scrin can win. They're going to win the battle of attrition. The longer the game goes, Scrin just have an advantage because they have the resources and the ability to spawn in Tiberium with support powers. They have 2 such abilities, one being the Ichor Seed and the other being the Overlord's Wrath. The Overlord's Wrath actually spawns in Tiberium crystals which regenerate and respawn, so that's a really good ability to use on your own Tiberium field. I would never use it offensively unless you're guaranteed to win the game. Ideally, you want to use it defensively, kill your opponent's army, and also get some Tiberium afterwards. Marv does get stasis shielded. Not sure if that was the right call there so soon, especially with the Juggernauts back there as well. EMP grenades being there, and those are going to be destroyed. So yeah, Futurama losing those EMP grenades, unfortunately for him, and he's just letting his hammerheads fall as well. So these hammerheads are going down, and BikeRush knows he has this game in the bag, so he's just going to start throwing down support powers, Juggernauts get sent on here. These Juggernauts have time to pull back, and he's going to lose those Jugs. So Futurama wasn't paying attention, and those Juggernauts will fall right away. The Marv does get out of that stasis shield. I think there was time for that to be going down. Actually, that's actually not a good situation for BikeRush. Those units are very low on health. The Sonic emitter comes down as well. I think Futurama can start using the support powers on this force. This Marv can start mining away at this field. Futurama needs to capitalize on this as much as he can. Start focusing down these forces here. Marv focusing down the Hexapod. Marv needs to move forward. What is Futurama doing? He needs to micro it a little bit better. What is he focusing on? He just needs to move in. What is he doing? What is Futurama doing? There's one corruptor here. He could have killed the Hexapod. He could have absolutely killed the Hexapod there. That was a big mistake. Storm column there for BikeRush. It does deploy that, but that's just going to give experience to the Marv. There's 3 Juggernauts now for Futurama, and this Hexapod is just getting help, but it's very slowly recovering itself. There's 3-4 Juggernauts for Futurama. This Marv should start mining away at this Tiberium field. It is a full health Marv. There's absolutely no reason for this to be doing this right now. This Marv has absolutely no reason to pull back. The stasis shield was used. Maybe he's just afraid of the mastermind being summoned in. Oh my god. Oh, the mastermind does get destroyed right away. That was a bit of a panic move for BikeRush. And now Futurama is going to push in with this army. He needs to be very careful with the Hexapod, because that can still jump on top of these Juggernauts and kill that. So yeah, let's see how this goes. EMP grenades coming in. And now we're going to start seeing this force come in. These tripods were EMP'd. Phase field comes down on that Marv. It's really awkward. The Hexapod's just buying time for this force of tripods just moving to this base. Hexapod, this needs to start focusing down this Marv. The tripods are... Oh my god, why did he block his own Marv? Why did he block his own Marv? That was such a stupid mistake there for Futurama. He just blocked his own Marv from shooting the enemy tripods. Oh my god, man. He just lost the game himself. That could have been the game. He had ample time to kill the Hexapod of BikeRush. He's going to watch this back and realize that he made several mistakes. He should have been more on the ball with his units. But yeah, BikeRush takes that game. It's going to be now 4-2 in this best of 11 series. So BikeRush has 2 games to win. He is now looking like the favorite to take this series. So we're going to go on to game number 7 and see if BikeRush can continue the momentum or if Futurama can bring this series back. But he's going to opt with the Talon 59, so this is going to play into BikeRush's hands. BikeRush is going to go for the quad turret beam cannon strategy. And it's probably not going to be stoppable, since the beam cannons were now buffed to kill stuff. The combined bug doesn't occur anymore. So beam cannons work as they should, as they were intended to. So it's going to be interesting, but I did offset that damage by reducing the damage of the beam cannons by I reduced it from 150 to 125. Should have been less when I calculated the average damage that the beam cannons dealt from like 20 games, and it should have been less than what I set it to, but nonetheless it is going to be 125 damage. From what I can tell, the beam cannons work well. They, in small numbers, don't do as much damage, but in greater numbers deal more damage, or they seem to, because the damage increases exponentially with the beam cannons. So Saboteur right here for BikeRush drones will take that spike, no problem. Buzzer tries to intercept that Saboteur, not going to. Futurama playing as the Cyan Trap 59. BikeRush with the red-black hand. So a pretty classic matchup from the days of R11 and 1.02. Black hand versus Trap 59. The former OP factions will clash once again on Tournament Arena. A map that I played Technique on many a time. I remember this a lot back in the day. But yeah, in the top we're going to see Futurama playing as the Cyan Trawler 59. And I'm a little bit disappointed by the refinery, but I haven't seen any Nod or Scrin Harvester's bug just yet. It could be the case that I need to adjust the Harvester geometry of the GEI faction to be the same as it was before, but keep the refinery docking stuff the same. I don't know. I mean, literally it should be the same as the Scrin, because the refinery setup for GEI is pretty much identical to Scrin. So I don't think it really matters, to be honest. Some bugs are just in the game. They're not going to be removed. They just are in the game, and there's not much we can really do about it. Anyways, yeah, as I mentioned, hard-coded in. So that's just how it is. You've got to babysit your harvesters, hopefully a little less than before. The health bars, though, you can at least see the health bars. Before CGF decided to make them small, I was always annoyed by it. I don't know why he did that. For many years, players got accustomed to it, but you can see the health on the harvester. It's easier to determine if you can kill the harvester or not, and how many shots it would take to kill that. I didn't agree with that at all when he made it small. Nonetheless, though, Seeker's coming out here for Futurama. Of course, he does fear getting attacked by a rush. So he's building units on 4 harvesters, expecting BikeRush to eco up, to flame rush him. 5 and 2 for BikeRush. No quad turret upgrade on the way. Going for that second war factory right now, one can presume. Scorpion tank will clean up this gunwalker. Seekers should attempt to engage this. There's a second warp sphere down for Futurama, which I think is a big mistake. Why would you pick Traveler and go for 2 warp spheres? This is a big mistake. I don't know why you would do this. This is never going to work. Unless BikeRush decides to go for Refinery, but he's not. He's going instead for a second war factory. So this is going to be a flame tank / beam cannon strategy. There is a Raider buggy in the south for BikeRush, so he's going to be getting early warning of what's happening. What Futurama should be doing right now is sending units to the top and bottom of the map and not let anything get past him. But he does have that second warp sphere going for gunwalkers, which is a little bit unnecessary. He needs to get eyes on what Bike is doing. At the moment, he's just guessing what's happening. There are no scouts in the top of the map for him. In just 1 second, guys, I'll be right back. Flame tank out here. This has actually been missed. Unless there's a cultist coming out for Futurama. Oh my god, is that really a cultist? I hope it is. Oh my god, he's stalling for funds. Disintegrators. That's not the unit that he needs. These Scorpion tanks are going to move in and clean up the force. This flame tank killed 2 portals. And he may even get the warp sphere. This one flame tank is dealing so much damage, and now the Scorpion tanks have found their entrance to come in and kill the rest of this force. Seekers and Gunwalkers were not the way. This was not the way. So BikeRush prevails here with the Gunwalkers, with the Scorpion tanks with that Dozer Blade upgrade. Why would you pick Traveler 59 and go for a bunch of Seeker Gunwalker? It doesn't really make sense. Okay, so yeah, that was a big mistake. Futurama loses his warp sphere. Not the end of the world though, but yeah, close to it. There should be some quad turret upgrade coming in here for BikeRush. He should get that. He's almost out of funds. These Gunwalkers are kind of useless against flame tanks, but we'll see what can happen. BikeRush is going to camp this field. He's got these shredder turrets. Not enough Scorpion tanks, I think, to defend against the whole army of Futurama. Mind you, the descents are an issue. The Seekers are deciding to cut their losses and go for the expansion and the eco of BikeRush owns. And now these descents are going to engage these flame tanks. I don't think it's going to matter. The flame tanks are just going to overwhelm. They're going to kill all of these units. And probably going to kill and deal with the rest of this force here. Yeah, Seekers was never a good option. So I don't know why he did that. That was a big mistake, going for Seeker Gunwalker against Black Hand on Tournament Arena. That's going to make the score line 5-2. I think Futurama at this point would probably... He's probably going to be a little bit tilted. He's making errors in his judgment. Okay, so let's see how game number 8 progresses. BikeRush owns will be feeling pretty good about this. He is going to be taking home $100 if he takes this series here. So, yeah, BikeRush owns going to be feeling pretty good about this series, taking a nice sum of money away home. He's going to be up here, though, in the top playing as the GDI Vanilla. And to the south, we'll be playing as the Black Hand, I think. Is this Black Hand? Yeah, it's going to be Futurama. Probably going to go for a flame opening, or I keep seeing him go for Disciples on 2 refineries, which is never going to work against BikeRush. He's not probably going to go for Blue Flame. Blue Flame tanks aren't as good. They still can work, but they're not as oppressive as they used to be. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be on Green Zero's map, which is Hampstead Gardens. And just a quick tour of this map. On the right, we can see there is a Tiberium spike for the left-hand player, or the bottom player, depending on how you look at it. And the same is true for the top side. In the left, there is a Tiberium spike. And not to mention, there's also one near your base. So there's 2 Tiberium spikes per player. Plus, in the middle of the map, we can see there is an EMP center defended by 2 garrisonable buildings. There is a ramp that goes up here, so this is going to favor buzzers, but also I think this is actually pretty good for buzzers. Actually, you're probably going to be able to secure these buildings relatively easily against the human factions. These hedges you can walk over, but they can be crushed by vehicles. A foxhole will be dug by BikeRush owns in that location. Interesting choice. I guess he wants to pay attention to this area. He may not think that Futurama has a shrouded turret queue, so he's going to take his chances and go into this base and see if he can scout a flame rush. There's no flame rush of such coming out. Futurama would have done more effort to stop this. But yeah, Futurama is just going to stop this right away. Yeah, BikeRush is going to micro this around. He may even block the refinery from being deployed, because when enemy unit is where you want to place a building, you can't drop that building, which is very annoying sometimes. Not a bug or anything, that's just a feature. Cabal going to chase this rifleman around. I think Bike just might accept the fate of that and lose it. Both players going for the expand. I reckon, yeah, BikeRush is already underway with that expansion. Likewise for Futurama, 2042. I'm not sure what that indicates. Is it Battlefield 2042, or is it something else that Green Zero is referring to? Probably going to have to ask him later. But yeah, both sides going for the expansion. Both sides taking their Tiberium spike. Neither side losing their Tiberium spike. Bunker here garrisoned by BikeRush with a missile squad in it. Interesting how he put one there. Maybe he's fearing a attack from bikes. This will help him defend against bikes. But no such push with bikes is coming his way. Scorpion tanks here for Futurama, 1 out on the map. Bit early for Scorpion tanks. Why is he building them before his harvesters? This is going to be good for BikeRush, because BikeRush has already scouted the Scorpion tank, and he's now just going to build a second war factory after his third refinery and defend that off, and he'll probably snowball from there. So let's see if he does just that. He's going for probably a refinery, so he's going for a very greedy push. Despite the Scorpion tank, which was scouted, there's 1, 2, 3 Scorpion tanks here. Maybe Futurama was guessing that he would get attacked by something like Pitbull APC, because BikeRush does this a lot. So BikeRush is actually tricking Futurama. Some games he's doing certain strategies, and then afterwards he's just not doing them. He's just going to eco up instead and make it look like he's doing that strategy with the pits and APCs. This is going to force Futurama to invest heavily into units instead of harvesters. Futurama only just now getting down his 5th harvester. So things like that will decide a lot of things, because now BikeRush has 4 harvesters on his expansion, and we see his main field is saturated here with 5 and 2. So BikeRush is in a better position, all things considered. Futurama only just now getting to that 4 and 2 status on his expansion tip field. Getting down a Hand of Nod, going to start training infantry, probably getting the Secret Shrine to upgrade Black Disciples. Then going to take up to tier 3, I imagine, and get maybe 2 MCVs out and Redeemer. That's probably his best bet against GDI. I would go personally for Bike Buggy spam on 2 War Factories. It works well with infantry, if you can support it with infantry, because really the GDI players often rely on hammerhead spam, so you want to escort your infantry with Bike Buggy and get tip core as quick as possible. A lot of players yet have to realize that quad turrets are $1,000, and it's such an upgrade to get against GDI, because those hammerheads are very oppressive once they get into your base, and you're going to have the upgrade. 4 pitbulls here for BikeRush, probably going to kill himself a harvester. Futurama will scout this. He's going to Q move his army. Not quite a Q move. There are rockets being rallied over there. Scorpion tanks for Futurama, just going to focus down that. BikeRush owns over here on building hammerheads, going for tier 3, probably working on that Reclamator hub. This should be anticipated by Futurama. He is picking Black Hand after all, so he should have some strategy in mind. And that Cabal there glitching out a little bit, probably trying to engage the pit, but unable to do so. Probably because it got rallied before the animation completed with the the cell or something. I'm not quite sure. One such case was found with zone troopers, which I had to fix. Didn't have to, but I did just because it looked better. Pipples here for BikeRush owns, and some pred tanks. Probably going to see APC spam at this point. APCs deal with mostly every threat from Blackhand. Infantry out here, tier 3 for Futurama. He can go for a Redeemer, or he can go for a chemical plant and one-click BikeRush. BikeRush has split his refineries up sufficiently to not get double-clicked. Hammerheads will sweep in, kill a couple of infantry units. BikeRush not going to expend those units. Let's bring up the help bar so we can see some micro happening. BikeRush has 4, 5, 6 hammerheads. The thing is, though, those hammerheads, once the tip core comes online, is going to be a wasted investment. So yeah, Futurama should hold off potentially until that tip core upgrade is researched, because then he'll trade much better against these units. A bike gets bled off there. So BikeRush is going to be happy taking these trades while he works on that Marv. Futurama is just going to work on EMP after he gets the upgrade. And once again, let's see this Marv in all its glory. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the concept art Marv. I haven't yet finished it, but it is a work in progress. I am very happy with the result so far. It's been a joy doing it. Just referring to stuff from the internet and getting it one-to-one like how the developers had it in 2007 or whenever they had that in the game. Could be that they always intended for it to be in the game, but the game was rushed, and there was many such incidents where the game was just not complete, and many such examples where the game was just not complete and they omitted so many things. So yes, there is a lot of infantry here, but BikeRush is already here with his MCV, plus those hammerheads can sweep in and kill the infantry, body blocking the barracks here with those riflemen. And now the Marv is just pushing forward. This buggy force is going to sweep in, kill the hammerheads. So the hammerheads will go down. That was a bit of a mistake there. Even ping the Conyard. I'm not sure if that was a good idea. Yeah, he's just going to lose all of his buggy there now. That's a bit of a mistake. Beam cannon's starting to come out for Futurama, but he's not going to be able to stop this Marv. This Marv just happily mining away at this Tiberium field. So I think Futurama should anticipate this a bit sooner. That mine game at the start where BikeRush went for just 1 or 2 pitbulls definitely caught Futurama by surprise, and that just allowed BikeRush to snowball and get to this position where he can go for Jug Marv and yeah, severely outmatch Futurama. As you can see, Futurama has not yet harvested all of his Tiberium field. If he had waited a little longer, could have had more forces, could have had a Redeemer out. He had the right idea, but he needed more beam cannons. Beam cannons sooner would have been better. Hammerheads, though, do require a stiff response. The response wasn't there with the tip core when he needed it. And with that buggy army, he should have gone to BikeRush's main and just killed that force off. But yeah, BikeRush was relying on these watchtowers to deal with these lightly armored units. That's why you need beam cannons. Beam cannons is definitely the way. And I think Futurama now is probably going to be out of luck. This Marv is pushing forward, and the Marv pushing forward with all of its glory. If you want this in your game in the future, then my next 4K update with the alt 4K mod will likely have it. I probably will actually do this for both 4K mods, depending if you guys like it or not. If you guys prefer this Marv, I can put it in both 4K mods, but as of now I have it just planned for the alt one. There is still stuff to be done to it. It's not finished, but it is more or less how you can expect it to be. This game is a foregone conclusion of all these Seco coming down. There are beam cannons, but really this Marv is just going to be tearing this force up. Mind you, there is a lot of forces here, but where's Futurama funding this? He's only got 2 harvesters. This Marv is just sweeping up this base, cleaning up the whole base. And not to mention that Marv in R20 has a rotating gun barrel, just like as it was always intended to be. So this is the Marv as it was always supposed to be. Infantry force moving into this base. The beam cannons should start focusing down these watchtowers. But the Marv is going to soak so much damage that I don't think it's going to really matter. Yeah, BikeRush is just body blocking this force, and the infantry force is just going to gradually get really low in numbers. And look how often these beam cannons are stopping their fire and breaking their beam just because of the fact that watchtowers were being blocked by the barracks. And that is going to be it. So yeah, BikeRush takes the series 6-2. in a pretty convincing fashion. It looked very close early on. Futurama made some mistakes with his factions, and then it was all over for him. So yeah, Futurama loses that best of 11 series 6-2. Did put up a fight in the first part of it, and yeah, BikeRush takes that win. Valiant effort though from Futurama. Do appreciate the show, and I appreciate them for understanding my mod. But yeah, the mod worked fine. It was just Futurama didn't download the patch in the start, so we had a couple of desyncs. That's because Futurama didn't download the update. But that will no longer be the case for everyone else, because they'll all be on the same page and have it when I finally release it on Command Post. Expect to see the release of R20, by the way, on Command Post this weekend, probably for all 3 map packs, that being the 1v1 map pack, the 2v2 map pack, and the 3v3, 4v4 pack. I am now finally out of the testing stage, and I'm happy to release it, but I'm going to wait a little bit, wait until the weekend. So that is going to be it. A big thank you to Shanks for sponsoring this show match, this best of 11 show match, and again, big congratulations to BikeRush for taking that series. So I want to leave it all here, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next stream. So take care.